Hello everyone, True Zero Emissions here. Oh, you'd have to have been there, but I'll explain what happened. This video is just to remind people, this is very important if you have a scooter, okay? This is a King GTR, and I've had many scooters, and I've done the same thing on all of them, even when they have different kinds of throttles, whether it be a trigger throttle or a thumb throttle, right? My recommendation is to, and this is what I usually do, I just forgot to do it. I was talking to someone, I saw someone that I knew, and I was talking to them while I was riding the scooter. I stopped and I was talking to someone, and so I kind of was distracted by, I usually turn the power down. What I usually do when I stop, I'll turn the power to 1 or eco mode or the lowest power setting, so that way if I accidentally hit the throttle, it won't launch really hard, right? Because it can hurt someone, it can damage the scooter, it can do both of those, and we definitely don't want anybody to get hurt. What if someone's in front of the scooter when it launches like that? And that has happened. I've seen that happen to other people, where someone is talking to someone and they have a scooter in their hands and the scooter will launch into people, right? I've never seen anybody get really badly hurt, but the potential is there to get badly hurt. So my thoughts as what I would like to do is have the kickstand, and the person I was speaking to said, the kickstand should have a kill switch on it so that when the kickstand's down, it will not let the scooter go. That's a very good idea. And that can be adjustable, where it's, because if it was too sensitive, it might cut the power if the kickstand just went down a little bit, right? The kickstand would have to be down, I would say past halfway would be a good mark, and that can be an adjustment that can be made. And that seems like something that all scooters could have. That, or like Segway did, which might be more complex, but I'm not sure. It could be different for each company, but where when you come to a stop, there's a setting, I think it could be a setting where you can switch it on or off. I think the Segway GT1 and GT2 automatically, after being stopped for a few seconds, will automatically go into like a park mode, and then you can just click it into, you touch a button and it puts it back into the last setting that you had it in, which is very nice. And I love that about the Segway GT1 and GT2. That scooter is very well engineered and thought through very well. The King GTR, I absolutely love the scooter. It's smooth, it's fast. I still wish it had stronger regenerative braking at under 10 miles per hour. Like my Dualtron Thunder 2 and other scooters that I've had, where it just slows me down on electronic braking all the way to a stop. But going back to the reason I'm making this video specifically, I'm going to be focused here, is so I'm talking to this person that I know, and they're asking me about the scooter. And what happened was, somehow I grabbed, and I've done this many times, but usually I have the power turned down so it doesn't do anything. I'm able to let go in time. Because I had the power on like 3, and I programmed 3, I modified 3, because it has 5 settings we can have the power setting on, right, on the King GTR. And I modified 3 to be pretty fast. I think it goes over 40 miles per hour. And it has, I think, maximum acceleration and a lot of things modified to be very powerful. So what I did was, I think I grabbed the throttle, and I was grabbing the grip, but I accidentally grabbed the throttle. And I've done that with the trigger throttle too on scooters. And what happened is the scooter launched, the front wheel went up in the air, and the scooter tried to launch out of my hands. I'm holding onto it with one hand, and it was almost like it was dragging me down, dragging me on the sidewalk. I was holding on as tight as I could. I guess people were impressed by that, because I was holding on and the scooter's dragging me, and I was hoping the tires would break loose, but these tires have such good traction. There was no way these tires were going to stop gripping the ground. So what happened was, I don't know how this happened, but somehow I held it as hard as I could. I was sliding, and then when I went forward like I was going to fall, I just kind of let go of the grip, and that's when the throttle got turned off, when I let go. And I kind of tried to set the scooter down. I opened my hand, and then I grabbed it again on the way down. I tried to set it down, and this all happened very, very quick. I think the safest thing to do is probably just let the scooter go if there's no people there. I didn't know if there was people there or not. I didn't have time to calculate, is there anybody in front of the scooter? So I was doing everything I could to stop the scooter from going. The problem was, I was holding onto the scooter, trying to stop it from going, and because I was holding it, the throttle was on. So anyway, that just happened, and I have to remind myself, put it in low gear when I stop. Okay, so if I'm stopping at like every red light, for example, should I put it in low gear? I don't know. I mean, or should I only do it when I talk to people? Like if I'm starting to talk to someone and I'm getting distracted, right, because I'm talking to people, I don't know. I mean, definitely for sure 100% if I'm talking to people, put it in a low gear. But if I'm just waiting for a red light or a stop sign, especially a stop sign, I don't think I would wait. I would turn the power down. I guess I have to think this through. For right now, I'm going to say if I'm just waiting for a red light and I'm not talking to anybody, that it's probably okay to leave it in the faster gears and not downshift it every single time I stop. I just can't imagine doing that. This does make me this does make me this does make me miss the Segway GT2. I had the Segway GT2 Megatron, and as I recall, the only reason I returned that scooter was because the front suspension was just too, well, I don't want to say it was too stiff, even when I softened it all the way up. I'll just say this, when I compared it to the King GT Pro, which is what I had at that time, that was the other scooter that I owned at that time when I had the Segway GT2 Megatron edition. When I would hit bumps at high speed, it was very jarring and my hands were coming off the grips. And my friend Cameron was telling me that the same thing happened to him. And for him, it was because the scooter's so easy to ride. The Segway GT1 is what he has, and he just bought a new one as well, another new one. And so he has a used one and a brand new one. And he said it's so easy for him to ride that he got relaxed on the Segway GT1. He just relaxed, and then because he was relaxed, because it's so easy to ride, right? The scooter feels like it rides itself, right? Because the front end is so stable, the suspension is so stable. That's like this on this scooter too. It's so stable. But what's different is on this scooter, the on the King GTR and the King GT Pro, I can hit bumps really hard, like steep 3-inch or 4-inch bumps. I've done this where there's straight vertical, right? Roots pushing cement up, and it can absorb it. That's how good the suspension is on these scooters. So my hands never even came close to coming off the grips. So I said, you know what? There's so many potholes and the roads and sidewalks are so damaged. I don't want that to happen again where I'm going 45 miles an hour or 40 plus miles an hour and my hands come off the grips on the Segway GT2 and I crash. It didn't happen in the past, but what would cause a crash was if I hit bump that knocked my hands off and then I hit another one after that, like a few feet later or 5 or 10 feet later, before I get a chance to grab the grips again, if I hit another bump after that, then I wouldn't have time to grab and control the scooter before hitting the next bump, and I would go flying off the scooter. I could see it happening and I knew it would happen, and it was only a matter of time. And when I see things like that, I change direction, meaning in that instance, it was selling the scooter because I knew I wasn't going to stop riding it fast. I did that with a street bike as well when I was a teenager. I had a Ninja ZX 750, and I noticed I was riding the motorcycle too fast, and I wouldn't slow down. I wouldn't ride it slower. And I know I can take it to a track, but I was just, the motorcycle at the time was the only thing I had. I didn't have a car at the time. So I made the decision to sell the motorcycle, and a close friend of mine that was literally making fun of me for selling the street bike and just, saying you should keep it, you shouldn't sell it. He passed away 2 weeks after I sold my street bike because a car turned in front of him at low speed. He was doing 35 miles an hour and a car turned right in front of him. And a witness said the car looked right at him, so he thought the car saw him. But, just because someone's looking at you doesn't mean they could be daydreaming or they could be thinking of something else, which I think is what the case was, because it was an old elder woman that was driving, and she might have been distracted, or even though her head and eyes were looking toward him, she may not have realized that it was a motorcycle or something. We don't know. But so anyway, I went off on a tangent. I always do that. I apologize, but I like to share my experience on my channel. I call my channel my journal, so I share a lot of things and personal things on my channel. And so this is about safety, and it's about being safe on the scooters, on the super scooters and the hyper scooters when coming to a stop, and when do we put it into a low gear, right? So I have no idea what I'm going to call this video, but I'm glad no one was hurt. In fact, people ran over to help me, and I was okay though. I didn't need any help. And it was a surprise because I really didn't know what was happening, and that's always the case whenever it does that. I never think I'm grabbing this. I always think I'm just grabbing the grip. So I guess I think I was using my left hand and I went like this. And as you can see right here, my hand is on that throttle, see? It's on there. So I went like this, the scooter took off and I'm holding it. So I'm holding it like that, or like this, I guess. And it's just pulling me down the street. You know, I'm running with it and sliding and everything. Oh gosh, I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's not funny actually. Is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm laughing instead of crying. But anyway, the scooter's okay. It's a really tough scooter. And the person I was speaking with was impressed that it wasn't damaged. So this side, it fell on the other side. This is the King GTR, and it fell on this side. And it didn't do much. Let's see if we could see this. I'm going to see if I can get a flashlight here. We'll get a flashlight, and then I have to see if I can get it to focus. So let's see what we can do here. Yeah, if there was an upgrade kit that allowed me to make the kickstand not, when the kickstand is down, because I was talking to the person with the kickstand down. See, it just damaged this thing, which that can be changed. And the grip could actually be changed too. I could just change that grip, but it just took a little bit of, it damaged the paint on there, and it not too bad on the metal. It didn't damage the metal too bad. See, it kind of just like, I kind of set it down in a way. It dropped, but when it first took off, it pulled really, really hard. This thing has so much power. I mean, these scooters are so powerful. And I can't even imagine if it had hurt someone. I mean, just thinking about that right now, I really can't imagine that. So I'm not sure what the future is with the way I ride this scooter. I'm gonna think about that. I do know for sure that when I'm stopped for any kind of time period, I'm gonna immediately put it in the lower gear, and I'm gonna think about how I'm gonna program a less powerful speed. I have to think about this. Oh, I'm missing the Segway GT2 right now. I'm missing the GT2 because that scooter, you cannot, I never had a problem with it launching on me from a stop because it just puts itself in park. Segway, you did very good on that. Very, very good. I do wish, if I'm going to talk about the Segway GT2, I have to say I wish it had a bigger battery. I think the GT2 only has a 1,500 watt-hour battery, if I recall correctly. It's like a 1,512 watt-hour. This has a 2,500 watt-hour battery, right? That's 1,000 more watt-hours, which is significant. And then my Dualtron Thunder 2 has a, what's the watt-hour of this battery? I'm not going to remember, am I? Can I remember it? It's a lot. I know it's 84 volts times, is it 40 amp hours? Anyway, that could be looked up. If you look up this battery right here, it's a very, very big battery. Big capacity. I don't mean big like in space. The scooter's a good size. It's kind of a shorter scooter, it feels like. When I compare it to the King GTR, it feels shorter together, like closer together, which I like. It feels like very personal, like I'm in a almost like a jet airplane. Not that I know what that feels like, but I'm just saying it feels like I'm in a race scooter. Like it feels like a racing feeling, right? Very compact, and then it has this nice wide battery compartment. But compare the watt hours of the Dualtron Thunder to the King GTR, and then compare that also to the Segway GT2. And I like the size of the battery that the Dualtron Thunder has. It's my favorite battery. And I just found out that this battery in the Dualtron Thunder can be charged at 56 amps. The battery management system can handle 56 amps. Now, can the battery handle that? I have to monitor it. I have to monitor temperature and never overcharging the battery, not overcharging the voltage, right? And not letting the battery get hot, not even close to hot, not even letting it get warm. If it gets warm, then turn down the power, right? There's no need to be putting the battery at risk and putting safety at risk. But Anyway, everyone, I just wanted to share that experience with you. It's embarrassing because that shouldn't be happening. I mean, I've been riding motorcycles since I was like 3 years old, and it just goes to show I've seen people do it. I've seen people that race motorcycles even to this day still accidentally hit the throttle on their scooters when they're talking to people. It happens all the time. It happens to everybody. So I think because of that, if it's happening to pros, we know beginners and anyone in between beginner and pro, it can easily happen to, and it does happen to them. It seems like having a kill switch on the kickstand, which will not let the scooter move. And what else? Some version of what Segway did with the GT1 and GT2, where when you stop, it goes into park and you just touch a button. That's real easy to get to. You just tap a button, and it puts it back in the gear that it was last in. I think that's very, very good. So I would recommend all scooter manufacturers to offer that, and then just have it in the menu. If you wanted to have it in the menu where that could be deactivated, so you can deactivate the kickstand, or the kickstand could be where you can't deactivate it, right? Because if the kickstand's down, we never want to go, right? We should never be able to go if the kickstand's down. I mean, that's my thoughts. But then as far as the one on the handlebars where it's a button you push to take it out of park, that it goes automatically into park, that could be a setting that's in the menu, right? If a scooter has a menu. Or it could just be a switch, like an on and off switch, where when the switch is on, that automatic park feature is active, right? I just think that's a necessity for safety reasons, because a lot of people, the police don't want people. Here's what's happening. Here's what I'm facing right now in the areas that I ride the scooter in, is the police don't want us on the street, but some police want us on the street, right? It's back and forth. Like, it almost depends on the officer, okay? It's like, here's what it seems to me. If you're willing to go slow on the scooter, like walking speed, which is around 5 miles per hour or less, or definitely well below 10 miles per hour, it seems like the police are okay with that, and that's maybe preferable. I think preferable is going walking speed maximum, right? If that's being done on one of these scooters on the sidewalk, that seems to be, from what I've seen and just talking to people, it seems like that's what's accepted. If a scooter's in the street, that's just very dangerous. I mean, cars just run bicycles over and scooters over so easily. It's just like nothing. I mean, you have a 100-pound scooter and a 3,000 or more pound car. It's like that does not belong on the same road as a car. To me, that just doesn't seem like it belongs there, sharing the road. It's nice with the bicycles that there's all these markings on the road saying that cars have to share the road with bicycles, and bicycles are allowed full use of the lane, which I'm guessing a scooter can also do that, right? At the same speeds, right? But how safe is it? I mean, there's so many stories of people getting just run over on bicycles and scooters, just like nothing. Just like it's just nothing. So they really need protection. Scooters really need micromobility, which is everything that's small. All these small transportation systems need separated lanes, like Pasadena is doing, Los Angeles is doing, Santa Monica is doing. Many cities are building infrastructure for micromobility where it's separate from the cars and it has a divider. At least has cones, and preferably has a cement barrier where the car cannot easily cross over, right? It's not easy for them to do it. And then if they did, they would make so much noise that a scooter or bike or skateboarder, anybody that's riding their micromobility would hear a noise, right? They'll hear it. If there's nothing there, the person on the scooter or the bicycle is not going to even hear the car, right? They probably won't even hear them coming, and it's just over, right? So I was reading a story where I think it was in Europe, and I don't know exactly where it was. It was in a major city where a boyfriend had bought his girlfriend, I think it was a Xiaomi M365 scooter, right? Because he was saying it's a great scooter. It's like the best one for that size, right? And this is a few years back. I can't even find the article anymore, but the original article said that she had low tire pressure and it said speed was a factor. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, that was my first scooter, the M365, and because today we're going to talk about safety, that's why I'm talking about this. So that M365 scooter is a very slow scooter. Okay, it goes like 15 miles per hour, and if you have low tire pressure, you're looking at like 10 miles per hour, right? Well, the way the article was written, it almost sounded like they were saying speed was a factor, as if the person was going too fast, like it was her fault. That might be why the article's I can no longer find it, because it might have upset people that they were like, wait a second, speed? Do you know what scooter she was riding? I mean, she was riding a scooter that can't even go over 15 miles an hour and doesn't have much power. We're talking about the Xiaomi M365, the original one, not the Pro, just the regular M365, the first one. And that was a very low-powered scooter, one-wheel drive. I think it was 350-watt motor, very small battery, but by a big company and well-built, right? Well-made, very strong, which is why people love them so much. But she got run over by a trash truck, and she died. You know, that girl died. She was a YouTuber. They had left her channel up at that time. They were choosing to leave the channel up. I don't know if her channel ultimately got taken down, if they took it down or not. I don't know at this time. But these are deaths that should not ever happen, because there needs to be special lanes for micromobility. And some cities have just, I mean, I think America is doing really good with micromobility in adjusting, in helping the transition and giving people choices for, choices for how to get around, right? So if you want to use a scooter or one of these scooters, or any kind of scooter, or micromobility, right? Any kind of micromobility as well, that there's going to be some safe lanes for people to ride in. And if they want to use their bicycle, they don't have to ride with the cars, right? They're going to have a safe bike lane. This is completely 100% needed, right? There's no need for people to be getting run over on their bicycle or their scooters by cars. Cities are doing everything they can, and we need to support that. We need to support cities supporting means maybe writing letters, phone calls, whatever you have to do. Let them know it's important to you. And voting for it, right? We already have they say the money's already in the bank. We voted for this a long time ago to have the micromobility lanes built everywhere. So there's no lacking of money, right? That money's, I've been told, it's in the bank. I'm going to do an interview with the person that was telling me about this, that knows all about this. I'm going to talk with him and ask about the history of that and when this began and things like that, because it's been quite a while. He said the money's been there for a long time. It's just a matter of getting people, is getting the job started. So that sounds like making jobs to me, which everybody wants, right? So if the money's there and people want to work and they want to make money, then everything's in place. We just need to get it organized and get it going, which there's a lot of people that love doing that, right? Love organizing and getting things done. So it's very exciting. So these are great achievements that are taking place. And where I was going earlier with the direction of what I was saying about places, if a place were to outlaw scooters, like I don't know what cities this was, but there was some cities that in other countries where they're just like, oh, we're outlawing scooters, right? And I think you can rent scooters, but you can't, like, if you own a scooter, you can't ride it. I mean, it was kind of confusing to me. I don't know. This isn't everywhere. This is just in certain countries, right? In certain cities, possibly, where I heard this. And maybe I'll make a playlist about that. I just put a bunch of those videos together where people are getting tickets for riding their scooters. They're not allowed to ride them in the street or the sidewalk, and they're just trying to get to work and to school. I don't think that's a solution. I mean, the solution is building safe pathways for micromobility, and that's what we're doing. So I'm really happy that we're